We're going to talk more about this now with Chief Foreign Editor Robert Parsons, who joins me on the set. Rob, this political context is a tricky one for Netanyahu, given the growing condemnation of the Israel-Hamas war. I mean, what's really in it for Netanyahu?
Yeah, I think he's got his main eye on the domestic audience, where he's been under intense criticism for various aspects of the Gaza war. The hostages obviously one, but also because many Israelis feel that he has been jeopardizing the relationship with the United States. That's why I think he's been saying, over the last few days and just before he got on his plane to fly to Washington, that the important thing for him for this visit was to cement the bipartisan support of the United States for Israel, and that Israel would always be a close ally of the United States. That is the message he's trying to put forward. And he likes to present himself to the Israeli public as the man who can keep the United States behind Israel, but at the same time as the man who can stand up to Israel. And balancing those two aspects of his relationship with the United States has not always been very easy. In fact, in recent times, it has become very problematic indeed over the Gaza war. The fact that he's gone across Joe Biden's red lines in Rafah in southern Gaza, the fact that he stepped over Joe Biden's red lines on targeting civilians in Gaza, and so on and so forth. Repeatedly, Joe Biden has asked him to ensure that more aid should get into Gaza, and reluctantly, he has sort of done it, but not really gone as far as the US administration would like. I don't think we're going to see anything like the speech that was made in 2015 by Benjamin Netanyahu when he criticized Barack Obama's policy on the Iranian nuclear program and pretty much jeopardized the Israeli approach to keeping bipartisan support. He came in for a lot of flack for that and is criticized to this day for it. So I don't think we'll see anything like that. But he will come in for criticism, no doubt about it, from Joe Biden. Chuck Schumer as well, one of the people who signed on the invitation for him, the leader of the majority in the Senate, but actually at the last minute signed on to the invitation. But for all of that, they will be looking for signs that Benjamin Netanyahu can deliver something on ending the war in Gaza, getting the hostages home, and making sure there is some sort of deal after the war. I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu is going to give any of it.
And there is certainly a lot going on, not just in the Middle East, but also in the U.S. right now, given the current political situation. I mean, it's not really the best timing for a visit, is it?
No. When he got this invitation, I'm pretty sure Netanyahu was thinking, great, I'm going to be the center of attention. This will play fantastically well in Israel. I will be able to make those points that I've just been talking about. He is the man who keeps the United States on board, but stands up to the United States when Israel's security or interests are at risk. And yet now he goes to the United States, and it's not like nobody wants to talk to him or anything like that, but the state of politics is uproar at the moment in the US. The assassination attempt, first of all, on Donald Trump. Now the announcement by Joe Biden at the weekend that he's not going to be running for president for a second term. Kamala Harris is moving forward. The Republicans are thinking, how are we going to respond to this? How do we adjust our strategy? Nobody has really got the sort of time to put Netanyahu center stage. In some respects, it doesn't matter that much to him, because the most important thing for him, I think, is what the audience thinks back home. And his speech to Congress today will be at 2100 prime time in Israel. They will see it. They will see a man making his fourth speech to a joint session of Congress, more than any other man in history, more than Winston Churchill ever made. He made 3 speeches to Congress. So he will try to exploit that. But the problem for him, I think, is a lot of people in Israel saying, you shouldn't be going to the US anyway. This isn't the time for that. We've got a crisis, a major crisis at home. You're the man who's responsible for not getting the hostages back. 70%, the day before he left Israel, 70% of the population blame him for not getting the hostages back. So he's got a really tough job on his hands to convince people that it's even worthwhile going to the United States.
All right, Rob, thank you for that. That's our Chief Foreign Editor, Robert Parsons.